A rough trip to Colorado for the Beavers, but there were some bright spots. The defense brought it early, and the offensive line put together its most complete game thus far. The head coach, Gary Anderson, joins us to break down the week that was and to preview the looming visit from Cal. Beavers Inside the Huddle starts now.
A lot of positives.
Good rep. Everybody be a playmaker today. Let's go play, y'all. Here we go.
Close toward the back of the end zone. Touchdown, Beavers!
And Reser Stadium is going to open its doors once again for the Beavs and welcome them in for the opener of Pac-12 play at home in Corvallis. Welcome in to Beavers Inside the Huddle, along with the legend Steve Priest. I'm Dusty Hara. I know you hate it when I call you the legend, huh?
Yeah.
Huh?
That means old.
Giant Killers quarterback Steve Priest with us. For the next half hour, we're going to go over the good, the bad, the ugly of the 44-6 loss to Colorado. Coach Gary Anderson will sit down with us and talk about the game and then take a look at Cal. Initial thoughts, Steve. You were there live in person in Boulder. Initial thoughts of what happened last Saturday.
Well, I mean, I thought they were prepared to play football. They came out and did just exactly what we were suggesting last week. Start fast. Play hard at first. This is a Colorado team who was scoring every time they got the ball first possession. And the Beavs came down, started well, played well, did what we suggested defensively, and just stopped there, unfortunately.
Well, that's a good spot to head to our damn good moment, brought to you by Flat Tail Brewing. As the damn good moment was definitely the start of this game, as you said, Steve, forcing a 3-and-out early.
Well, yeah, and what the Beavers did was they got away from the zones where they were sitting back. You see these corners, they're all pressing. That made the quarterback have to throw it where he didn't want to throw it, put a little bit of pressure on him. It was good defense, and as we said, 3-and-out. The Beavers come back after this, have a good drive, go down the field, and it's 3-0 Beavers. So you're really thinking the good has happened. This is what the start was that we wanted.
And that's something that we talked about last week was, hey, get those guys into it early, get them up, get them aggressive, and it looks like Coach Kevin Clune is starting to maybe loosen up the reins on these guys, let them play a little bit more.
Well, I think he has to, Dusty. I mean, they're playing so soft the first few weeks, and now he's got them with a little bit more experience. The young guys know that they can go out there and take a hit every once in a while, and they're playing better. They should do this. They should stay aggressive.
All right. You know what? Sometimes there's good, sometimes there's bad. That's why we go to our hot and cold, brought to you by Pyramid Heating and Cooling. Let's start with the cold. Early, as good as the pass coverage or defense was in that first half, in that first series, the cold was, over the course of the game, Steven Montez, 316 yards passing through the air for the Buffs.
Well, he did everything right, and his receivers did as well. Oregon State did not play great defense. They were, whether it was zone or man, after what we showed you at the first, seems like there were just little issues that caused problems. In that situation, once they had a 63-yard touchdown because the corner stepped inside when he's supposed to have the outside leverage. Those are the kinds of things that happened. It was an amazing day for Steven Montez. He's going to be a great quarterback.
This guy, again, the backup quarterback for the Buffs. It's not something that you should feel bad about because his efficiency has been lights out throughout the course of the year. It's not just this game against Oregon State.
Oh, and he had one scramble in there that he ran around, broke 6 tackles, and then threw the ball away to save a big sack. So the guy does exactly what he has to do. It's amazing he's only a freshman.
Well, let's take a look at one of those touchdown plays that we saw right there as a deep dive in for the Oregon State defense.
Well, let's hold it right here and take a look across here. It's 2nd and 5. It's an empty backfield. There's nobody back here, so the Beavs know basically it's going to be pass. And they're playing a conservative defense. They're playing a 3 deep. This is a corner. He's going to come up. And you've got 3 guys who realistically, based on where the quarterback's located, shouldn't be much outside of there. There should be a guy down the middle. This guy should be back deep. If you stay relatively in those areas, you'll be able to cover the field and make plays where it occurs. Let's take a look as it goes down. Let's stop it again right there. What's happened is they've pulled this safety over to the sideline. Now, he can cover it from farther. He should be farther in here. We can't see the middle safety. This corner has come pretty well, and he's on the backside. He can cover anything over here. But what's happened is they've pulled the safety deep, leaving this guy an opening behind because of the position of this safety. Let's take a look at it. And it's really just not smooth. If you see it here, wide open, because this safety, and the safety in the back, just simply were not in the right position for the play.
Well, that was the cold part of it, and those things will happen. 5 receivers out and motioning into an empty set gets defenses all the time. The hot, though, was the Oregon State offensive line. As we took a look at, and we talked about last week, Sean Harlow making his return for the Beavs after almost a full year with a broken leg. The Beavers offensive line reshuffled, retooled, really the first time that we've seen this line together as it was. And they did all right on the ground, averaging 3.8 yards a carry when it was all said and done.
Well, they did a good job. In fact, you look at the switches. You have Brandell, who's a redshirt freshman, moving over from the left side to the right side at tackle because Harlow took the left tackle. You have the right tackle, Stanton, going down to guard on the inside. The guard going to the center, and the right tackle had never started at those positions before. So it was remarkable. They have 4 out of 5 new starters in the fifth. Fred Luina at the left guard gets hurt early first quarter and is replaced by another freshman, Gus Labaka, a true freshman. So we're going to see 5 linemen this week who weren't playing in the same positions the week before last.
And if the Beavs want to look in one place, you start with the run game, right? I mean, that is
Absolutely.
where the run game starts. You take away the 4 sacks that the offensive line did give up in pass protection, which 5 new guys, new spots, getting used to each other is to be expected. The Beavs average 5.8 yards per carry on the ground if you take those 4 sacks away. So,
well, and no question, but Art Pierce,
yeah,
he's almost 8 yards per carry. This is a young freshman who's just learning how he's going to run the football and where his blockers are and where they're going to come from, what he's going to do. So you put him with Ryan Nall, and it's a real heavy backfield that they can locate through there. They only got 17 runs out of those guys. They need about 35 out of them to be successful, particularly as we get into Pac-12.
Well, we're just getting things underway. We will talk about Art Pierce and along with the new quarterback, Connor Blount, who we saw again in the second half of the game against Colorado. But coming up next, Coach Gary Anderson sits down with us to really dive in to that game in Colorado, and then we take a look at the Cal Golden Bears. Welcome back into the Blitz Lad. Dusty Harris, Steve Priest with you as now we head down to Corvallis, where we're joined by the head coach of the Beavs, Gary Anderson, joining us now. Coach, thanks for being with us this evening. How you doing?
I'm doing fine, guys. How are you?
We're great, Coach. Hey, Coach, we're getting into Pac-12 now, deep into Pac-12. The running game becomes so important, particularly against a team like you're playing this week, keeping the ball away from them. Art Pierce and Ryan Nall. Talk about the differences in their style and how many times you want to get each of them the ball in these football games.
Well, you know, they're different, but I don't think the offense necessarily changes with either one of them. You know, Tavis has a little bit of ability to be able to get outside, a little bit faster, can get to the edges. Ryan is more downhill in between the tackles, which we all know, but inside zone, outside zone are our 2 main plays. I think the effectiveness of the run game is going to be very important. If you look back at last week to the Cal game and the Utah game, you know, Utah had the ball for 90 some odd snaps, and Cal Berkeley snapped the ball 54 times, I believe. And that's what you have to do against these guys, keep the ball out of their hands. And if you're in a position to match great offense versus great offense, and then you see what the score is going to be at the end, then that's fine too against these teams that have these very, very potent offenses. But we're not in that position. Obviously, Utah didn't feel they were in that position, and they slowed the game down. So that'll be a key part of it, and the run game is a big, big part of that. So both of them need to be effective. The offensive line needs to be effective, and it will help eat up some of that clock and hopefully keep drives alive, and at the end, get points on the board. Because if you don't score against a team like Cal, you have no chance to win. You know, 28 points and 54 snaps against Utah's defense. You know, that's still a lot of points in 54 snaps, as I'm sure that Utah would not be overly happy with that. But they also got them to snap it 90 times with their offense. So mission accomplished there, and that'll be a plan that we use also.
You know, Coach, running the ball is paramount in the offense, but we're looking at Seth Collins yet again leading the team in receiving against Colorado, and we're seeing steps and growth in his game with every single week. What's the biggest change that you've seen in the development of Seth Collins, the wide receiver, from week 1 against Minnesota to where we are now?
Well, I think every week Seth is gaining knowledge, and it's not just from practice and practice reps. It's from game experience. And I see him asking the questions. I see him at practice applying what he did good in the game and also what he needs to work on within the game. And he's really trying to master his craft as a wide receiver. It's going to take some time for him to be able to finally hone in on all those techniques and those fundamentals, but he is working at it every day, and he has a very tough-minded work ethic amongst himself. And the thing that's going to help Seth is the other support from the other receivers. I think Seth and Vic have done a nice job for the most part. Seth has the most receptions, but if we can get the quarterback to field settled down and be in a position to make some more plays for us, and his protection is there that he believes in, the passing game will take a big jump forward. But we have to be able to allow the quarterback to feel comfortable. And I think that Seth, Victor, and then hopefully Jordan can get into a position to make more plays with us, because we're not going to have Noah for an extended period of time.
With these quarterbacks and the new line that's in front of them, are they becoming more comfortable? You mentioned it. Obviously, Daryl's still your quarterback. You feel comfortable with him, but are they both working in well with this particular offensive line?
Yeah, I think, they're doing their best. And with protection comes better routes from receivers. It comes from better blocking from the offensive line, from the running backs, the system, coaches getting the ball out of the kids' hands quicker. But right now, if you're a quarterback within our offense, I mean, Steve, if you and I go out fishing and here in Oregon and I catch a 10-pound salmon and I keep that 10-pound salmon in the fridge for about a week and a half, and every night at some point while you're sleeping, I'm going to smack you in the head, then I'm going to smack you in the back, and then I'm going to smack you in the knee at midnight, 2 o'clock in the morning, then 4 o'clock in the morning. You're going to get a little bit jumpy, and you're not going to sleep so well anymore. And that would be my analogy of where we are with the quarterback position. They have to be able to settle themselves down, and that's the responsibility of the people around them, regardless of how tough you are. And you can't just say that's a quarterback's job. So, that's my analogy for where I would feel right now if I was a quarterback. And as an offense, as coaches, we all need to take responsibility to help the quarterbacks feel settled in. And I think you'll find a much better quarterback.
We saw in the run game, the offensive line averaging 3.7 yards a carry. You take those sack yards away, it was upwards of 5.8 yards per carry. We starting to find some more comfort, stability on the offensive line with those guys in pass protection. Hopefully, the next evolution in this O-line.
Yeah, I would say that is what we're looking for. That's what we're hoping for, and that's what needs to happen. We need to continually work to run the ball, and we did. We got better at running the football. I think we protected better at times. And I think the coaches have done a nice job of adjusting the scheme to get some things out quicker than we normally would like to. And, ultimately, at the end of the day, within this offense, if you're going to contend and get yourself in a position to, number one, win Pac-12 games, which we have not done yet, and number two, be in meaningful games in the month of November, in the Pac-12, you're going to have to score points, and you're going to have to throw the ball effectively. So that's where we're headed. That's what we're looking to move forward to. We need to work with the kids we have to get better in that position. We need to work to continue to recruit to get the best kids we can get in that position to help us and allow us to be able to score points. But we are always going to want to run the football, yes, but you have to throw it and you have to score in this league if you're going to win. You're not going to be a great defense and say, hey, we won the Pac-12. Or we're in this bowl game because we have a great defense. That's a part of it, yes, and we want that, but you have to score points.
All right, we're just getting underway with Coach Gary Anderson. Coming up next, we talk about the quarterback that's coming into town, the Texas Tech transfer, Davis Webb, in the Bear Raid of Cal. Inside the Huddle rolls on along with Steve Priest and Coach Gary Anderson, Dusty Hairier here, as the Oregon State Beavers are opening up Reser Stadium for the Pac-12 opener at home and the explosive Bear Raid offense.
Coach, this is the best offense. You're going to face the best offense in the league and maybe the worst statistically defense. Strategically, how do you compete with this offense, and how do you compete against the defense and take advantage of what they do best and worst?
Well, first of all, It's much like last week, and if you break down last week and this week, there's going to be a lot of similarities in what we have to be able to do. It's a simple statement, but you have to disrupt the thrower. This kid is an NFL quarterback. He's a big-time player. He'll play on Sundays without a doubt. I think he'll be a high draft pick. He can make all the throws. He throws an outstanding deep ball. One of the best deep balls I've seen for a long time, and it's hard to defend. And he has some good receivers that goes up and gets it. Past that, you have to do a good job of competing for those balls, getting some of those balls out. The run game for them is something that they are not afraid to use. They don't make a living running the football, but they do run the football to keep you honest, and they've had some effective times, especially in 2-minute situations where they come out and run the football and get down the field. The 2-minute situation at halftime for Utah, they ran the ball extremely effective. So as you break it down, we have to get them in uncomfortable situations. If it's 1st and 10 and it's 2nd and 2 or 2nd and 3, all right, then they're very comfortable. They're where they need to be. Those shots are going to be more frequent down the field. That play call sheet is wide open for the offensive coordinator. The quarterback feels extremely comfortable. And when I say comfortable, he needs to have that clock somewhere in his head going off. And there's times when he just flat throws the ball in about a 1.5 seconds, and that's not going to worry him. He knows he's not going to get hit in that time frame, but there is times when they let those routes develop across the middle of the field that take a little longer. So there's a lot to it. It's a potent offense. I've played against it now for, I guess this is my 3rd time, counting back to La Tech when Sonny was there. And they've always been very good, regardless of the kids that are there. They've had talented wide receivers and talented quarterbacks, and this is just another example of talented quarterback, talented wide receivers, an offensive line that has some experience. So it's a tremendous challenge for us. We'll have to do a lot of different things. Mix up coverages, try to get after the quarterback a little bit, try to confuse his pre-snap reads, and see if we can fall underneath a couple routes there and jump him and see if we can get some picks and make some things go off in his mind that will get him not so he's in pass Skelly mode, if you will.
Well, hit him with a couple 10-pound salmons a time or two. we talked.
That'd be good. Yeah, hey, whatever it takes, man. If we can put him over there in the cooler, I'll sling him from the sidelines at him if I have to.
Davis Webb, not very often. I mean, you mentioned his prowess, how good he is, and how quick and decisive he can be. Not many times can a team lose the #1 overall draft pick and then come back with a graduate transfer who is just as good, if not this offense is more productive. What makes him fit so well with this Bear Raid attack and what the Golden Bears do specifically? Is it something with his skill set?
Well, he's very comfortable. He has and obviously for years he's had an understanding of the offense. I'm sure some of the name changes and there's some tweaks, but he's played in this offense. He can make all the throws. There's not a lot of kids in college football that can be on the opposite hash and, throw a 16-yard out route for a 1st down on 3rd down and put it right on the dime on the sideline there where you can't cover it. Not a lot of kids can do that. And his arm strength is highly impressive. He has nice touch when he needs to. He hangs in the pocket. He's a well-rounded NFL, from what I know as a college coach. I'm not no NFL guru, but in my opinion, he's one of the best quarterbacks that I've really faced in my career as far as a kid that can make all the throws, has great knowledge of his offense. Now he has some very good people around him too that always helps. A very solid receiving core gives him the opportunity to make a lot of plays.
Coach Anderson, good luck as the Pac-12 home opener is upon us with Cal in Research Stadium. Good luck to you and the Beavs.
Thank you, guys. Appreciate it very much. Go Beavs.
Go Beavs, Coach.
All right, we still got to get to our keys to the game. A lot of keys, including which quarterback's going to be playing, huh? Which running backs are we going to be seeing taking the bulk of the carries? Well, if you like the Beavs, and I know you do, there are plenty of opportunities to get your Beavers content right here on CSN #Beavers. Tonight, it's right after us. Game day every Saturday, 9 a.m. with resident Beavs Steve Corey. Talking Beavers every Wednesday night at 7 o'clock. And then us 8:30 every single Thursday night with Coach Gary Anderson. All right, it's time to get to our Northwest Honda dealers' keys to the game. For me, it starts with converting on third down. If you convert on third down, you keep your defense on the field, which means Cal's offense isn't on the field to score. Average 4.5 yards per rush. These got there. It's just the 4 sacks for 33 yards. Knocked that average way back against Colorado. And then win the turnover battle. Davis Webb, he can whip it around the field. He can sling it, but he can also turn it over.
And every time they turn it over, they've lost. When they lose the turnover battle, they're 0-2 this year. I like your keys, Dusty. I think they really fit well this week. I think they do a lot. Mine lead the same way with the run and the pressure. I think the Beavs have to run and possess the football. That keeps Cal off the field, as you said. They've got to do it against the worst defense statistically in the Pac-12. Play pass when you get them thinking run. You throw the football. Beavers got playmakers. Get it to Bolden. Get it out there to Collins. Let them score. They can do it. That's what you have to do on offense. Defensively, Gary said it earlier, you confuse them, you pressure them. The Beavers have only got 6 sacks all year on defense. They simply have to get 4 or 5 sacks in this football game with as much throwing as going on. Put pressure on the guy, make him have to throw to somebody he didn't want to throw to.
You know, something he said kind of sparked my attention a little bit. You know, they have got the 12th ranked rush defense in the conference. Do you think that it's coordinators and head coaches just saying they're throwing the ball over, we need to throw the ball too? Because pounding the football seems to be the recipe for success against this Cal team.
Well, I think so. And the Beavers' last game were a great example of that. They marched right down the field the first time they had the ball. Got behind quickly. Everything changed. They started throwing the football. The Beavers have a good running game, or can have a good running game, particularly with this offensive line getting to know each other. They should stay with it. They should run, beat it into the ground like you suggest.
This starts a stretch of 3 of the next 4 Pac-12 games in Research Stadium. We will be back next week with Coach Anderson at 8:30 on Thursday night to review Cal and take a look at Utah. Again, coming up next, we've got more Oregon State football content for you. Stick right here on CSN.